Hi, so I'm Crystal. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview with me. I really, really appreciate it. Can you tell me just like a little bit background of like about yourself and everything?
My name is Michelle, and I started in 2015 with a company in Costa Mesa called Youth Employment Service that was founded in 1970.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started there, they had a very small program where people from the community would come in every Tuesday, and I saw the need growing in the community within the school, so tried to figure out a way that to eliminate that transportation barrier. So I started going into schools, and by 2017, I took the program, developed it to what it is today. And by 2017, we were the most highly requested workforce program in Orange County.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's
no,
pretty cool.
that's awesome.
So I've had a lot of experience in the past from owning my own business and working for Nordstrom for over 10 years. And I've always just been very passionate about school and teaching and being with kids and enriching, helping those, helping the next generation come up, especially for workforce.
Mhm.
And a big part of my job is I talk and I work a lot with corporate partners throughout Orange County and companies. And the number one thing that they say that people of all ages don't do well, including adults, is selling themselves for whatever that positions that they're going for and talking about themselves in a storytelling way. So I've created a lot of content and stuff that really focuses on that. So now that we're going into all the high schools and we're teaching career readiness and teaching them how to sell themselves in the first minute when they ask, tell me about yourself,
Mhm.
and how to really sell themselves and telling us stories where they can quantify things and really make an impactful story. It's a game changer for students.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely especially around here because we do do have such a diverse like socioeconomic like population, like it's beneficial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and there was just a big report that just came out just 2 weeks ago from a lot of large companies that they are finding that students that are graduating from college are not workforce ready. They have their degree, but they don't know what to do with it. And
Yeah.
they don't have the skills to go out there and get the job.
Yeah.
So it's really cool what we do. So then about 3 years ago, the CEO of Boys and Girls Club of Central Coast um, saw me doing a training and really liked what I was doing and had heard through the community about my program.
Mhm.
And long story short, that ended up being an emerge because
Mhm.
our demographics for our age group and the high schools fit their initiatives perfect. So we just kind of slid in. So we've been with them for 3 years now.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And the benefits for the students and what I can offer students now is huge,
Yeah.
huge.
No, that's super cool that you started it and then kind of like established
Hmm.
organization came and partnered with
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
That's super
Hmm.
awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I took it what it was. It's been
Mhm.
around for a long time, but then we just enhanced it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yep.
awesome. Um, so let's get into it. The first question I have for you is what motivates your organization to seek partnership to promote educational initiatives?
Oh gosh, I mean, it's what we do. So when we go in and we talk with schools about what we can offer, so we have different components of career readiness where it helps them with skills assessment, with online applications, common made mistakes in applications, what students need to know, how to prepare themselves for interviews. And then we actually do practice one-on-one interviews with them. We do resume workshops, financial literacy, LinkedIn workshops, several other workshops. Then schools are like, when can we start? So it's a natural partnership with all of the school districts. And so we have 8 cities that we're in all the school districts. And so the schools are our main key partners. They're our stakeholders with that, along with the community partners and the corporations.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
What would you say is your favorite workshop to deal with?
Mm. The career readiness.
Yeah.
Because I always tell students if there's nothing more than I do in this whole entire workshop than to help you guys learn how to make that personal statement, that elevator pitch, like a movie trailer. You
Mhm.
know, like, do you watch movie trailers like on
Yeah.
Netflix? Do you
Yeah.
watch some where you get like halfway through and you're like, it's not really my vibe?
Yeah.
And you watch some and you get all the way through and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to watch it right now,
Hmm.
right? So I tell students, I'm like, that's how I want your pitch to be, whether it's for a scholarship interview, an
Hmm.
internship interview, a job interview, sorority, fraternity. I want you guys to hook them in right in the first minute
Yeah.
and then sell yourself and really talk about, like, if you have great leadership skills, tell me about a time that you did something with that.
Hmm.
Or if you have great communication skills, tell me about that, and help them come up with these compelling like stories,
Hmm.
because your resume has all the facts, right? But when you get in front of them, that's when they want to hear the stories, and the stories are what they're going to remember you by. So that's my favorite, because I see the students go like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I had those skills, or I never knew how to talk about them that way.
Yeah.
So that's really fun.
That's super cool that you like help them kind
Hmm.
of like sell themselves.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
awesome.
Hmm.
Can you share an example of a particularly successful partnership?
Oh gosh, one that we just recently did, that this is the 10th year that we've done it,
Mhm.
that we've partnered with Costa Mesa High School. So we
Okay.
have MOUs, which I can talk about if that's of interest.
Yeah.
But Costa Mesa High School, we are part of their senior exit project.
Okay.
So all of the seniors start resumes in December. And
Mhm.
so the entire senior class.
Mhm.
And then in February, we do the career readiness. So I go in there a few different times and we break into the workshops, like of the components that I just explained.
Mhm.
And then that culminates after they do all that. Then they take all of that and they put it into practice, and we bring in corporate partners and community volunteers. And that's an undertaking right there in itself. But then we do practice one-on-one interviews with every single student. And then after that, I always encourage students to bring their resumes, because that leads into a lot of networking opportunities.
Mhm.
So if somebody's going into healthcare,
Mhm.
then they can network with companies that are there in the healthcare industry.
Mhm.
So my goal is, like, for the senior class, is to really help them connect with industry partners before they leave high school, so that they leave high school going like, okay, I kind of have a game plan now. I know what
Mhm.
I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's not so scary.
Not only that, they have like connections also because like
Absolutely. You have to
you're
have
building.
connections,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And if they start building connections their senior year and they keep building those connections throughout college, then
Mhm.
they can come back. Like, I just had a student reach out to me that is a senior. He's graduating this year in engineering,
Yeah.
and he really wants to come back and live in Orange County, but it's very expensive here, right?
Yes.
And so he wondered if we had some connections. So I was able to connect him with Raytheon, with Pioneer Circuits, and with Edwards Life Science. So can't get him the job, but at least
Yeah.
you can help make those connections, right?
Exactly.
So connections is what you need to like get into a lot of these companies.
Definitely. You
Yeah,
are like paving the path for them to
yeah,
fully
yeah, yeah,
enter the workforce.
yeah.
That's super awesome.
So that's one big one that we just ended.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And working with this whole senior class,
Yeah,
that's huge in itself.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's exciting. It's really fun.
definitely. I would say the next question I have for you is what types of organizations do you typically partner with? I know you kind of went into it right
Hmm.
there, but
Hmm.
can you possibly expand on it?
Yeah, because we partner with all the schools, but we also partner with really anyone, like, because we're a community, right?
Mhm.
And in order, it's like there's the saying of, it takes a village to raise a family.
Mhm.
It takes a community to raise a village to raise a community, or a
Yeah.
community to raise a county, you know?
Yes.
So we partner a lot with, obviously, with all the schools, but also with a lot of other nonprofits. So like Project Hope Alliance is in Costa Mesa. And so they'll bring their students and we
Mhm.
work with them and help them.
Mhm.
And a lot of them need jobs, or with Casa Youth Shelter or
Mhm.
Orangewood, and a few other places, Robin's Nest,
Mhm.
where they experience homelessness. And so we can help them even with rehab places. They're like some of my favorites.
Mhm.
And you help them get back into the workforce and help build their confidence to get back into the workforce. So we partner with a lot of different people like that. And then also our partnerships with big companies, and small companies, because they are the ones that oftentimes offer our students internships, externships, training programs, jobs. I think last year we had about 360 students receive jobs
Wow.
of the ones that I worked with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool.
Yeah.
It truly does take a community.
Yeah. Not only that, you're like changing 350
Yeah.
lives. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
You have students come to you in tears and like,
Yeah.
you couldn't have gotten that job without you. And
Mhm.
like, yes, you could have. You were amazing. You just needed to know how to talk about yourself.
Yeah. On some level, you're like completely leveling the playing field
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
building equity.
Yeah. And especially in our community and where we live, there's so many students that are first gen
Mhm.
and their family doesn't know anything about jobs. And I have stories of students that take the information that I go with in the work packets and they take it home. And I've had stories of kids telling me that they helped their mom, who hadn't had a job in a long time, get a job and walk them through the interview process from our workshop.
Yeah. Wow, that's impactful.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How do you establish and formalize partnerships?
Well, right now we are formalizing an entirely new school district within the city of Anaheim, which is the largest city in the county.
Yeah.
And so that's a great big one. But we work with Irvine School District, with Santa Ana Unified School District, Orange Unified, Newport Mesa Unified, Anaheim Unified, and we have formalized MOUs with all of them. So we do go through the MOU process, and then a lot of them are a little bit stricter, like Santa Ana. Anybody that's in the Santa Ana schools, we also have to go in. You have to be TB tested. You have to go through the police department and have your background and like life scan, all of that stuff done.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we do formalize everything in MOUs, and then really it's like, it starts with talking with the principals, the counselors, and just kind of seeing what the needs of their school is and how can we support their college and career counselors, how can we support the teachers with either workforce or college bound. We have an incredible college bound program that like last year we gave out $316,000 worth of scholarships. Most of those were first gen. And right now, like yesterday, I just did scholarship interview prep for about 70 students that are applying for scholarships.
Wow.
So this year we'll be giving out a whole lot too. So the process is mainly a MOU, and then it goes in with whoever I'm working with, like with the teacher or with the counselors, and then I explain what our program is and what I will be doing and then what I need from them.
That's awesome. So you like not only do career like workforce readiness, but you also help the students in post-secondary education. Like that's
our college bound program actually will follow them all the way through college. So when students leave high school, they still get their advisor, and our advisors work on I think it's a 50-to-1, like a 1-to-50 ratio. So every student has their advisor and they will follow them all the way through college. So that first year of college, you know how tricky that can be, especially for first gen. So they're there with them going, how's it going? They make sure that they're staying on track, that their credits are there. They help them with everything. There was 2 students last year that had a transfer for family reasons, and they helped them through the whole process of that.
That is so awesome.
Plus the alumni, they can get continuing small scholarships throughout their 4 years of college too.
That's so cool. I keep like thinking like, wow, like the colleges around like here should have like had it, but like it's not that far away, which is amazing. Like what you find when you research this stuff.
Yeah.
So
I know. My kids always say, I wish you would have known all this when we were in high school.
Yeah, definitely. It's very impactful what you're doing for sure. Yeah. Let me get my next question. How is your partnership managed and who is responsible for overseeing the collaboration?
Me.
Yes.
So we do have a great teen team. We do have a senior director that oversees all of college and career, like the whole initiatives. And then I am strictly over the workforce development. So I make sure that for 10 years, it's just been me, myself, and I serving hundreds and hundreds of students. I don't know how I did it, but I've done it.
Mhm.
So just this year, I've been able to finally hiring a team. But I am very good about, so I go to a lot of school meetings. I'm always meeting with teachers. I'm always meeting with counselors. How was the program? How was it received? What feedback did you get? What can we do differently next time? Um, so I manage those, and it really becomes just a great friendship, but that's also built on trust, right? And so you have a very high quality program. And so it's very important that you don't grow, like I always put quality over quantity. So it's very important that you don't grow too fast because you don't want to do anything that jeopardizes quality. Because after 10 years of building these great relationships where they trust you with anything, and they literally will say, whatever workshop you want to do, I trust you. All it takes is one bad thing, or a bad facilitator or something that can ruin that. So my integrity is like everything to me, and that whole trust relationship. And I like to have a lot of fun. I love to bake.
Yeah.
So I'm always baking and packaging up little things for our volunteers. And then I also take it into all the school staff too.
So it takes like years to build a trust, but in one like instance, you
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
undo
it really can. And that's really important when you are growing anything, when you're growing any business,
Mhm.
right? And you're training people. It's just like having your own business
Mhm.
that you put your pride and joy into this business, right? And then you hire people to help you. And if they're not doing it to your standards, it can close you. It can close the business.
And baking, that is a skill I have yet to manage.
Oh, I can help you
That's
there.
awesome. I how
That
you bake
happens
for
to be
that
my
many.
favorite.
How you manage to like even add that extra layer of like kindness to the role is truly awesome. Like sweet treat.
Thank you. It's a lot. Sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes I'm baking at midnight for the next day.
Sounds like a lot. Oh my goodness.
No, it's good.
Um, what challenges have you faced in managing partnerships? Really just whatever you feel.
I would say, I mean, I don't see anything ever as a challenge because it's just such great work.
Mhm.
And I feel like I always share with students, I don't even feel like I have a job. I feel like it is just such a privilege to be able to do what I do. And I always thank the students for having me there with them. So that I would say, maybe for like new facilitators coming on, like I'm training 2 people right now, a challenge is you have to be able to read the room, right? So if you have students that aren't engaged,
Mhm.
um, you don't want to do anything to like upset them or make them go like, you want them to have that trust. And so,
Yeah.
um, over the last 10 years, I think I have a really good read on people. And I can tell when people start thinking that like I'm not good enough or something like that. And sometimes I just kind of stop and throw something really motivational in there. And they kind of look at me like, oh my gosh, you get me. That kind of a thing. So sometimes that can be a challenge for newer facilitators. And then the other thing would be like when we have like Costa Mesa High, how I was saying, like if there's 300 students, that takes about 120 volunteers that will come in and donate their time to do practice interviews with all these students and give them verbalized and written feedback. And we did it.
So you're really rallying the like troops of the community to help
Yeah,
these kids.
so that is where, but it's also, it creates a win-win partnership because you have companies like I've been doing this for 10 years. And I don't think there's ever been a time where an employer, somebody hasn't said, you were so impressive. Do you want a job? Like, here's my card. I'd love to talk with you.
Yeah.
Do you want an internship? I would love for you to have an internship.
Yeah.
So there's so much opportunity, and a lot of these companies they like to give back to, and it makes them feel really good
Yeah.
because that's the future. These students are the future.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's awesome. Like your whole like mindset around things, like that's really motivational in itself. And like being able to like read those social cues from students
Mhm.
is honestly amazing
Mhm.
because not a lot of people have that gift of
Mhm.
being able to tell when students are
Mhm.
not engaged in something.
Yeah, and there's some of my favorites. Like there's a school in Newport Mesa Unified that if you don't make it at any of the other schools, you have to go there,
Mhm.
right? And so they feel like they're coming in like loser, and they are some of the best students. I love them.
A continuation school, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
love the
I
students
love
from there.
them.
Yeah.
And, I was talking with them and I could see I didn't have any of their attention. They're
Mhm.
just looking at me like, yeah, you've got your life together. So I just kind of threw out a question. I said, let me ask you. I said, what was your impression of me when I first walked in? Because we always talk about first impressions, right? When you have an interview, what's your first impression?
Mhm.
And I'm like, you guys can tell me, like, nothing's gonna offend me, I promise. And they kind of started laughing. And then one girl said, well, your outfit is so beautiful. Like, I love your outfit. Like, I would love to have something like that. Like, but I would probably never be able to afford it. And like, oh my gosh, these pants are Amazon. Or no, the pants were Target and the top was Amazon. They're like, really? And then somebody else said, you have like kids and like you're probably married, like, all like you've got your life figured out. And I said, you know what? Wonder if I told you guys that just 3 years ago, I lost my mom. 6 months later, my husband of 35 years decided he didn't want to be married anymore and left and moved out of state. My company was merging, so my job was changing. At that time, when I was part of the merge and making that happen, my brother's cancer returned, and I was trying to make my job work, moving at the same time, moving out, and then my brother passed away. And they all looked at me and they're like, "You did that?" And I said, "Yeah, I get it. I understand. Like life can suck sometimes, but it's that resiliency that you learn. And today I'm happier than I've ever been."
Yeah.
And you get through it. But yeah, at that time, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to live in Orange County by myself, like on my own? And I only had a talk, maybe it was like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, not long at all. And every single student in that whole MPR room looked at me, and a couple of them, there was a couple of boys that their eyes were watering, and they're like, I'm sorry that you went through that. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't be sorry. I'm just saying, like, that was your impression of me, but you would have never known that, right?
Yeah.
So you never know. And from that time out, I had every single one of those students,
Yeah. It really takes
you
like
know?
a gift to be able to connect
And you
with.
just have to connect with them, find something to connect with. And I
Exactly.
certainly wasn't doing it to like, oh, poor me or whatever, but it was just kind of an interesting,
Yeah.
perspective of what they thought my life was like.
Mhm.
And so I just said that you guys are going to face things in life that you have to have that resiliency, you have to have that grit, and you just have to like
Life
keep
will
on
life.
chasing your
Yeah.
dreams. Yeah, life gets you
Yeah.
sometimes, and it's how
Yeah.
you react to it. And it was actually a really good lesson, and a few of them talked with me after that. So,
Mhm.
anyways, kind of elaborated on that a bit long.
No, yeah, but it's awesome because realistically, when you are in education and everything, a lot of
Absolutely.
people like, come in with this like notion like I'm educated, like I have my life together, and the
Right,
kids don't respect that. They
right,
respect authenticity and like
right.
being a real human.
Yes,
So that's part of your job.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I will say that is probably the number one thing that has made me as successful, like doing this,
Yeah.
as with that, is because first, I love kids, I love people,
Yeah.
and I love students. And I just think they're amazing. Like, I'm always telling them, I can't wait to learn from you. Like, you guys are the ones learning all this new stuff. Like, I want to learn all that, so it's fun. And then when I go into schools, they come running up to me like, Michelle, and,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
it's awesome to make those
So
connections.
it's good. It's good. They feel like they have a safe space, right?
Yeah, that's number one job for me,
Yeah,
like for the students.
yeah,
Be a safe
yeah.
space. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, let's see. How do you distribute work evenly and ensure responsibility is shared like equitably among partners? I know that's kind of a wordy question, but
Let's see. Because a lot of the work that we do in schools comes from us, right? But I couldn't do what I do without the support of the teachers, right? So the teachers really get behind what we do. So when I do a skills assessment with students, teachers make that part of the grade. So the students have to do that. When we do the practice interviews, there's a mock application that they have to fill out, and they have to turn that into teachers. And if it's messy, teachers will hand it back and say, I wouldn't hire you off of that. Like,
Yeah.
no, you're not going to turn that in.
Mhm.
And so the teachers really help me with that as well. And then when they show up to do their practice interview, they get a grade for that. So it's a partnership with that. And so they're not doing the work, but they're supporting the work, right?
Yes.
And then so it's always been me. And then when we do the interviews, then we have the gal that is our resource community coordinator. She works with all of our volunteers. She comes in and helps, so she organizes the volunteers, and I'm with the students. So that's how we share the work with there. And now as I'm training new people, then I'm taking them along with me and training them how to do what I've been doing with facilitating. And then they'll start taking, like last week, one of the girls took half of the workshop and did the whole half by herself. So we're sharing like with that. And then pretty soon she'll be out on her own. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it
Okay.
answers it perfectly.
Okay. Okay, good.
Definitely like hearing about like the logistics of like, okay, since it's expanding, we have new people to hire. So I like hearing about that. How do you evaluate success of your partnership?
I think, well, we track like students that we serve. We have our KPIs. So how many students, that we have a lot. We are not government funded, which I love, because when you're government funded, then they have control of your curriculum, right? And so you have to do things that they want you to do. So we have control of our curriculum, but we do work off a lot of grants, and we have a lot of amazing donors. So some of our grants and some of our donors, even some of like our bank partners, when they volunteer, their criteria is they need to work with so many students that are low income. So one of the KPIs that I track is, do you receive a free or reduced lunch? And that puts them in that lower income bracket. So we track that, but we also track the success of the students. So they do a survey afterwards, like on kind of their outtake of what they learned from the whole experience. And it's a game changer for a lot of these students because they haven't had the confidence. A lot of these students have never even had an interview. So when they walk out and we have the review sheets on how they did, and so they get that verbal feedback of, this is what you did amazing, and here's some ways that you can improve. And you see those students like walking out like, oh my gosh, they said they would have hired me. So the success is just huge. And then you hear through the success of the school, and so like how it started blowing up 10 years ago is when we went into Costa Mesa High. And then in the teacher lounge, everybody was talking about it. And then pretty soon other schools are calling and they're like, we want to do what you're doing there, that kind of a thing. So we do track KPIs big time on that. So we do monthly KPIs. We have our annual goals. We have goals and things that we set with the schools. So we track those to make sure that we're meeting everything that their students need.
That's awesome. Also seeing like that confidence on the students' face when they walk out. It's gotta be amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I've had students cry afterwards because they did so good and they didn't think they would do that good.
It's like building that confidence.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's the best job. It's so fun.
No, that's honestly awesome.
Does that answer that, or do you need more information?
Oh, no, I think that is perfect.
Okay.
I think the KPIs and all of that, like it's super cool to like
Yes.
formally hear how you do it because the research just said surveys and didn't really elaborate based on the like websites and everything that I did. So like hearing like the actual steps that you take to see the
Yeah.
student success
Yeah.
is
So
really
we have
awesome.
students, I have students, there's a QR code that they scan and they register, but it doesn't register into like a system, but it just comes to me through and I track that on Excel. So KPIs is absolutely a must. It's huge because that's what we our grants, our donors, like our yearly reports and all that stuff is all of our outcomes.
Yeah,
With that.
that's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
What challenges have you faced in your partnerships specifically?
With the partnerships,
Like barriers related to like either funding or resources. I know you touched on it a little bit like before with a
I
few
would
questions.
say with the partnerships, up until a month ago, the biggest challenge was the bandwidth because we had too many schools that want what we do because it's truly incredible. Like we will do career panels, so we bring industries in and they talk about what they do. We do on-site. We took Kennedy High School in I think they're in Anaheim to Doubletree Hilton. We took their culinary class and we did an on-site field trip. And so they got to hear from 5 different people within Hilton, like what their jobs are. But then they met the head chef who went into the kitchen and cooked. And then they got to eat what they cooked. And it was just this amazing experience. Like we do some amazing stuff, with these students. So every school like wants it and everybody's like, what can we do? So it's really like looking at the calendar and like, oh my gosh, I don't know when I can fit you guys in. Like the month of February. So last year I worked in schools with the schools that we had, about 1,000 students. Just in February alone, I've worked with 700 students. Almost 75% of what I did all last year in 1 month.
So bandwidth for sure is a challenge.
Bandwidth is a
Yes.
challenge because it's such a great program and it's such a big need that it's such a strong need that the school districts are now talking with us. Like they want us to take the curriculum that we're doing in high school and make it middle school age appropriate and start teaching the middle school those like the career industries a little bit and try to get them excited so they go into high school kind of knowing like, ooh, maybe I want to do that, or oh, I don't mind taking math because that's going to help me do that, and helping them learn how to storytell and talk about their strengths and talk about themselves confidently. So now we're looking at like possibly going into middle schools too.
That is awesome. That is a big expansion.
So the bandwidth is absolutely, I just hired 2 people and I'm sure we are going to need to hire a couple more for next year, but it's really exciting. So I would say definitely that. And then the volunteers, is because you don't want to exhaust your volunteers and you have to do like scalability and you have to think about what's sustainable. And so I'm reworking a different way to also offer to do interviews that will require less volunteers as we grow to make it scalable.
That's awesome that like you're thinking about like the future and sustainability of these efforts because that's like a big like part of my course at least is like the sustainability of these partnerships. So
yeah, because you'll burn out.
Exactly.
You'll burn them out.
Exactly.
So and you have to really foster those relationships with the volunteers, and so that's why. Like I think I do, that we had volunteers come to Costa Mesa High and they're like, and I had, I've made chocolate chip cookies forever and everybody swears they're the best on the planet, but I packaged them in little individual bags and tied bows on them because it was Valentine's week. And I had partners come in that said, oh my gosh, I've heard about your cookies. So they all left so happy and they're like, just let us know when we can come back. So you also have to really appreciate your volunteers and make them feel valued. And they love what they're doing too because they get the feedback from students.
Yeah. Also, it's like the little things that show that you like value.
Absolutely. Yeah. Big on thank yous, handwritten thank yous and stuff like that.
it's crazy because now that we've like moved into a more digital age, I feel like some of those like kind of like it's not even courtesies, but like just like the norms of the past have lost, like handwritten thank yous or like
Yes,
simple
yes,
things like that, like go a very long way
yes.
nowadays.
Oh, I tell students all the time, if there's ever, like you have to send a written email, right? Like an
Yeah,
email thank you after
yeah,
an interview. But
exactly.
I tell students, if there is ever a job or an internship or a scholar, anything like that that you interview for that you want so bad,
Mhm.
think outside the box and do something that other people won't do and do a handwritten thank you letter. A girl did that, a student that I helped get her first job at Starbucks. She had an interview on a Friday, and on Saturday morning, unbeknownst to me, didn't surprise me because she's amazing,
Mhm.
but she dropped off just a little handwritten, like a little small thank you card.
Mhm.
And she just said something like, you know, thank you so much for interviewing me yesterday. I really enjoyed hearing about you, about the team, more about the team, and looking forward to hearing back from you or something like that. And the manager called me that afternoon and said, I've been a manager here for 5 years and I receive email thank yous all the time, but that is the first handwritten thank you I've received in 5 years. She got hired. I
Yeah.
mean, she interviewed anyways, great, but it's those little things. Like I am always telling students, you guys have got to look for things that will make you stand out. And
Mhm.
how can you gain a competitive edge if you're going up against 50 other people? You got to do
Exactly.
something to make yourself stand out. And that's something that's easy to do that
Exactly.
you can do.
Takes minimal time, but
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
something that the
yeah,
employer remembers for sure.
yeah. But yeah, when we do handwritten thank yous for our volunteers and like little gifts, they're like, oh my gosh, you guys wrote me a card.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah.
It's for sure like super cool. Um, how do you create a welcoming environment for all
Oh, there you
stakeholders? Yeah, exactly.
go.
So we kind of talked about
So
this.
I, you know, I love people. And
Yeah.
that is just ever since when I talk with students about like doing personality tests and skills assessments to see like what your personality type, where it lines up with different types of jobs, right?
Mhm.
Industries.
Mhm.
I did one with students and I did it with them, but ever since like my first job at 15 was making tacos and burritos.
So,
Really?
yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. And then that took me into retail, that took me into Nordstrom after that. But every job I've had my entire life is all people facing
Yes.
and collaborations and
Mhm.
being with people and some artistic and stuff like that too.
Mhm.
I am not the personality type. Like my nephew is a computer coder. I
Mhm.
am not the type. If I had to go into an office and sit at a desk 8 to 5 every day, kill me.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
You're a people person,
I'm a
so it
people
makes sense.
person. I want to be out. I want to be with people. I want to be bringing people together, like partnerships, making a difference in people's lives.
Mhm.
That's that is me
Yeah,
totally.
definitely seems. Yeah.
So when I'm forming partnerships,
Mhm.
like all of these schools, like I walk into schools and they're like my family,
Yeah.
right? But it's how you treat them. And it's when, even though we're coming into their school to help their students, I bring all of them treats too. Like if I'm going to bring treats for the volunteers, I bring them all to the staff and to the front desk
Mhm.
and to the faculty and just say, thank you for having us here. Like, thank you for getting all of these volunteers checked in and showing them where the library is. Like, we so appreciate you guys, your kindness. You know, you take such good care of them too. And, you know, and that's how you just form a really good partnership. And then also sticking by your word.
Mhm.
And because a lot of times, like when I first started going into schools, they're like, oh, yeah, somebody from Yes used to come in. They were always different people. Um, and we haven't heard from them, you know, that kind of a thing.
Mhm.
And I found out that they were using volunteers to do that. And
Mhm.
so I said, well, I'm here now. This is what I do. And this is what you can count on from me. And so it took a couple of years. It took like a year or two for people to start going, okay, like you're still here, right?
Yeah.
And so really sticking by your word and delivering what you say you're going to deliver. I think that's really super important.
Actually, that's crazy that you mentioned Yes, because when I was looking online, it said that like you guys still partner with Yes. So I'm assuming that there was like a formal there was never a formal based on that response.
Like, because okay, so yes was stood for
Mhm.
Youth Employment Service.
Yeah.
And so when we merged with Boys and Girls Club, we are still yes,
Hmm.
Workforce Development,
Okay, okay, that's
right?
fine. That makes
So
sense.
we're under the umbrella of Boys and Girls Club of
Yes.
Central Orange Coast.
Hmm.
But it's basically like how Robert, our CEO, said, like, I am basically the executive director of Yes,
Hmm.
but it's just under the Boys and Girls Club umbrella, basically. But we kept the Yes in there because it's such a staple of the community and people. That's what they recognize it by.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you for
Okay,
clarifying.
yeah,
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 'cause
that
I
was
was,
good.
yeah,
Good thinking on your part too.
yes. Um, what policies and strategies does your organization have in place to encourage employees and volunteers engagement and growth within partnerships?
What policies to encourage it?
To encourage, like, I guess, like bonding and growth together, like for the shared mission.
So we have like our annual goals and we all of our initiatives. So like our teen program, we have our teen centers where we have events held at our all of our teen clubs. And then we also have our college bound program and our workforce program. So together we have to all be synergistically like together, right? And we have our like I have my own strategic plan. Everybody has their own strategic plan, and then together we have our annual plans. And then our company has our annual goals aligned with their annual goals so that we're working together. And then we do quarterly review meetings with our executive team, and that makes sure that we are staying aligned across the board with our mission, we have a strong mission, and our two-word slogan is pursue greatness, and that is throughout everything that you see, like in our clubs and different things like that. But our CEO is very passionate about every single child deserves the best, and he has always lived by whatever my children have access to, every child should have access to that. And so he really paints this big vision and makes sure that we are all aligned. So our family strengthening unit, our our operations team, our marketing department, our resource and development department, our learning and innovations department, we are all in that same mission. And so they do, we have reviews, we have quarterly strategic planning meetings to make sure everybody's aligned, annual meetings, and we have monthly, they're called vital factor meetings, but they're monthly goal setting meetings. So we do them within our departments.
So it's
Does
very
that help
like,
with that?
yes, it sounds very equity driven and making sure like everyone is pursuing what they said in these meetings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And account like what's great is nobody is micromanaging you. It's like you do your job,
Yeah.
basically, that kind of a thing.
Like accountability.
Yeah. And that's where our monthly meetings are. So even though my team, they don't have to go to any goal setting meetings, but they know what our annual goals are. And I encourage them, and they love setting their own monthly goals.
Yeah.
Even though they don't have to, they like doing that because that helps them reflect back on their year and stuff like that too for reviews.
Excuse me, sorry.
No,
That's
you're good.
awesome that like you are so goal driven
Mhm.
when it comes to that. I feel like when you do have a very broad partnership, like the way that you do and your company does, the mission can get lost. But it sounds like you work
No, the
very hard.
mission's very, very important. Like we do not go away from the mission. And it's also really important to make sure that everybody is staying in true and in line with that because that affects our donors, that affects our grants, our partnerships, everything, right?
Definitely. Very important. Um, how does your partnership handle personal changes in leadership, and what strategies do you use to ensure continuity?
We do a lot of SOPs. So we're very big on having training manuals on everything that we do so that if I were to come down with the flu this week and I have a class of 300 to go do, then somebody can pick up and know exactly what I'm doing because it's in the SOP, right?
Yeah.
So our training, like for me with onboarding new people, I have created a document that goes step by step through like a lot of training so that I make sure that every single employee that I train is getting the same training. And that takes them through the different departments. That takes, it's introducing them to all the people. It's taking them on club tours. So we take days and go to all of the different sites and introduce them to everybody so they learn what they're doing too. So they see what, because we work from pre-K all the way up to college, right? So it's really important that everybody understands all the logistics of the entire club um, and how it impacts how one area, like how we can all work together too. And even though you're in learning and innovations, we still can work together, right?
That's super cool because realistically, there are going to be days when there are like call outs and like just cool that there is like a plan in place
Yeah,
to ensure
yeah.
everything runs
So,
smoothly.
like for continuity with my program,
Yeah.
then like I have a great training manual that I have created. And so my team, they know exactly what to do. So the content of the program always stays the same. And then they can take it and like throw in their own personal stories and personalize it a little bit. But the content never, the core content is always there. No matter who's teaching it, the core content is always there. And like a presentation slide will help them walk through it. So pretty much wherever school you go into, you're going to see the same core product, right?
Yeah.
Maybe just facilitated a little different way,
Yeah.
but it's all the same.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
personalized.
So that's how we do with the continuity of that to make sure that everything is across the board. And when we do those quarterly strategic meetings, we also do assessments where we will go pop into somebody's program and just see how they're delivering to make sure that everybody's delivering
That's awesome.
the same.
Yeah. I like didn't really like fully think about like the possibilities of doing that, but now that you explain it, like it sounds like it's pretty set in stone.
Yeah, yeah. And as we're growing bigger and bigger, it's more important that we put a lot of those things in place. Because when it's just me, I know what I'm doing, right? But when I'm not there, like you have to put those things in place to make sure.
Yeah, for the sustainability of
Yeah.
the partnership.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
In your partnership ongoing, or is your partnership ongoing or time bound? I guess.
Oh gosh, no, it's ongoing because, and that's the really cool thing. Like we are pretty much like on the school year calendar, right? So you're there, you're in school a lot during the school year. And sometimes and you're working with different kids like juniors or seniors so we're kind of there throughout the school year, but then also in the summertime, we'll do like some summer camps. So we did like a construction camp, a day camp, where people came out, a construction company came out, and they did hands-on learning stuff, and so instead of sitting there listening to a company, you're actually learning how to put stuff together and weld or do things like that. So and then we also have maker spaces in all of our centers, so they do coding and all kinds of like 3D printing, modeling, stuff like that. So we'll do some really cool workshops like that throughout the summer to engage students too.
Yeah, so not only just like workshops, like
Yeah.
tactical.
Yes, yes. But our partnerships are ongoing because Like perfect example, Costa Mesa High School. This
Yeah.
is the 10th year I've worked with the senior class.
Yes.
Next year will be a new senior class. So it's always being repeated. And that's where I always, we always talk with our schools and our teachers and stuff about how did the program work? Any feedback that you got? Do we want to do anything different for next year? That kind of a thing. So it's a continuation.
That's awesome. Have you had any like sibling fairs?
Yes, 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 absolutely.
That's cool to see.
Yes, and because it started out as Youth Employment Service, it's been around 1970. We've had grandparents where their kids and then their grandkids came through.
That's so you're making impact generationally.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
How have your partnerships evolved to address changing needs or new opportunities while staying true to the original mission? I know you kind of touched on it, but is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
About staying true to our mission,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like with the partnerships, no, because I always tell schools like if you think of some crazy idea and you think, oh my gosh, this is so crazy, throw it out to us. And if it aligns and if it's something that we can pull off and it's work related, then absolutely, then we can do it. So I think, it's also, I think it's really important when you're talking with schools about like what their goals are for next year. Like right now, that's what we're doing is planning for next year. And so what are their goals? What are changing? Like AI, right? And all the changes as AI is coming out. So we're shifting and we're adding in some AI workshops and maybe some AI prompts about here's what you can do. Like here's a couple of things, adding prompts and things like that. Doing more webinars, that can reach more students. So we did one webinar with an engineering company and 3 different classes that were happening at the same time. They were all like career technical education classes, but there happened to be 3 periods at the same time. So they all tuned in. So instead of that, like there were 75, 80 students that all tuned in to the career panel. So I think you're adjusting that, but that's staying true to your mission, right? And then when you're talking with the companies as well, it kind of goes back to that fostering those relationships. What is the company, like a lot of these big companies, their employees, I guess don't have to, but it's very encouraged to do volunteer hours. And so they do volunteer hours. And so what are those volunteer hours based on? And so they tell us what their needs are. And if that aligns with our mission, then that's where that can come open too. So it's like they're doing us a favor, but we're also doing them a great favor.
Benefits all. What did you say they were doing? What they were doing?
But that's how you become like you roll with the punches.
Exactly.
And unexpected things happen.
Exactly.
And there's times in classes, right?
You were
Where things happen.
Yes, you were talking about an AI kind of workshop, which I think is so beneficial because you are leaning into the future kind of like of technology and teaching them how to use it, which again, I'm very grateful to go to a college that is teaching me how to use AI beneficially, but there are people that don't get that. So that is a great example.
So like you can, it's like I talk with students about like if we're talking about a story or you're talking about something, like throw it into AI and get some ideas on how to do it, right? But I don't want you to take that from AI and read it exactly like that because it's going to throw in some words that aren't you. And so when you go to repeat it, you're going to get caught up or stuck on this word that doesn't sound something like you would say. And then they know it's AI, right? So really talking through them with a lot of different things. And I think schools are doing a good job with that and stuff too. But
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the last question I had for you. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really
Yay!
appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah,
That's
it's
amazing.
yeah, no, just your whole partnership and what you do is very like interesting, and it's amazing that it's in our community. And just getting to know a little bit more about how you help personally, like thousands of students over the course of like when you worked is
Mhm.
truly, truly awesome. So thank you for taking the time to do this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course.